All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back and good afternoon to all here this Monday afternoon, August 30th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And at this time, as always, welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Great to see all of our students and trial members that like live inside the trading room. I believe I'm good to go across there once again. But if you're joining us live on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, welcome on back. I shouldn't always say that, right? Because we always have new members joining us on our social feeds. Either way, welcome on aboard. So for right now, the GSAT trade, hey, we've been following this stock since the crack of dawn, right? Really, we had this on our pre-market watch list, going into the open. We had a couple on there. It was actually a very active pre-market, and we knew that the volume and momentum for those trades and plenty of others would die off at some point after the market opens up. And normally that some point is around like 10:30, sometimes a little bit before or after Eastern time, that is 10:30. But nonetheless, I mean, a lot of these stocks ended up dying off. GSAT here ended up making a really nice move. It took a little while to get the gears going, but we'll talk about this more in our Traders Talk workshop. The move was right off of 2, and then really from there, actually, not just 2, but 197. So I bring it up that way because, well, I'm in this trade. I've been in this trade. It wasn't all perfecto. There was my first trade on it, and I took a 3-cent loss, and I jumped back in. And I actually did double the amount of shares I did from the first time. So I was scaling out incrementally throughout the afternoon. I still have 1,000 shares left. So for right now, hey, this looks great right now. I say it all the time when I do the meeting. Just because there's a stock I'm in doesn't mean I'm going to put it on the list automatically. But I'll tell you, I mean, hey, I said it in the trading room earlier. If the stars could align, and they don't always, but if the stars could align, we could see 250. And that was like a number of hours ago. That was like going into 12 p.m. Eastern time here. So, it popped over 210 since and pushed up gradually. Hey, for right now, easy enough just for us to put this on our watch list to start. I have a bunch of chicken scratch here. If you heard my papers fumbling around, I just wanted to make sure I had a clean slate of paper right on. There we go. All right, so today is Monday. We got crypto, at least today. That'll be at the end of this meeting. For right now, though, actually, as I'm talking, GSAT's testing the huge resistance at 240. It's basically a 1 million share order. Not only is that resistance, but 239 was the opening bell print. So I ended up getting out a little bit earlier on the last 1,000 shares I was, scaling out of. But for right now, this looks great, and I would even say that 240 could be even bigger of a resistance compared to 250 ahead. So for right now, definitely great stock to start our list off with. All right, you know what? Not to be lazy here, folks, but we'll go from top to bottom. No better way, really, to go across the market. But for anything else that we did trade, BBIG, of course, KPLT, of course, ANY, ATIF. We had a really good morning. We may as well start from the top. So we'll recap those that we ended up trading, and then we'll simultaneously kind of just see what else is out there. The AFRM trade's just way too expensive for us to even fathom as a day trade. So for right now, unless if you're trading that on a covered call, I would look to pass on that. For right now, BBIG, hey, this stock ended up making another big move for us. Took a little while for it to find some support. It was bouncing up a little bit after 8 o'clock and going into the open, but doesn't mean that it's going to continue. Unfortunately, the wheels died off on this trade, at least, going into 10 o'clock Eastern. It ended up beginning to break lower off of 850. I had a couple of levels here, actually, and one of them you could see, 775. This stock got halted on the way down. And normally when a stock gets halted on the way down, I say it all the time here at least, it's game over. It's a wrap. So it's to say that given how volatile this stock was from Friday and then heading into the pre-market this morning, it's not fully a wrap. It's not fully, game over. But it's to say that, for the most part, I'm not expecting a giant squeeze all the way back up. If it ends up doing that here going into the final hour, we'll obviously call it out. But there were a couple of points where this ended up making some big moves. It broke down below 8. And like I said, at the opening halt print on this trade was right off 775. So you could see how well 8 and now 775 are holding well as resistance. But I got to say, a huge missed opportunity personally for me. I was like off by a fraction of a minute, we'll say, not by a second, but fraction of a minute. I didn't want to chase it. But I was scanning throughout the afternoon, and then I turned back over to this stock after it popped up. It was right from here at first. And I thought I missed the move, so I wanted to be patient. I jumped in when it broke under and back over. I had a sweet entry, but I ended up getting out way too soon. I got out at like 7:25, 7:26, and then it just kept going. So, I should have held on to that. That was my big mistake. But nonetheless, this stock for right now seems kind of washed. It seems washed up. If it ends up making a big pop during this meeting, then hey, you folks call it out to me. That's all. All right, so see what else we got here. The KPLT trade, another big move today. At least this stock ended up, popping a little bit after the market opened up. Granted its direction leading into the open. No surprise that it took a little while for it to consolidate or coil up first. So it ended up doing just that. Ended up kind of bottoming out right around 4 and pushed back up. Nice move, hell of a run back up from 425 as it popped back above that price and ran all the way up towards just about 575, 580. The stock very tradable still right now. It's trading about 80, 90,000 shares a minute. And compare that to the volume that it was trading prior when it was spiking up and even dumping back down as people were taking profits or even loading into short positions off the top potentially. It's just to say that it's not trading nearly as much volume as it was from earlier, and it's still trading about 80 to 90,000 shares per minute. Perhaps that's including the spike, but nonetheless, it's still a lot of volume right now for this afternoon. So you know what? At a minimum, I'll put this on our list, maybe near the bottom for right now. And, if we build up the list really nicely, we'll see where this stands. But for right now, this will still be in play. The ANY stock, another one from earlier today, ended up making a nice pop once the market opened from seemingly 550-ish and, took off, got halted a couple of times. This stock also, I don't think on the way down. So this was just natural profit taking and at least, lack of buying when it failed to break out up over 750. But hey, right now pushing right back on up. This stock we're very familiar with, not just from the last week and a half, 2-3 weeks here. Really, this stock came out with news in relation to crypto or Bitcoin mining as well. So again, we'll get to crypto and Bitcoin and Cardano, and I'll introduce one more to you that I jumped in over the weekend with. But this stock over the years, I don't even have my chart set back that far, but it's to say that over the many years that I've been here, I've been here almost 7 years now at this point. This stock, I forgot exactly when, but for a number of years, let's say anywhere between 2 to 4 years at least, this stock on and off of news. So it's one that we're familiar with, one that has also a lot of liquidity on the order books. So yeah, good push on this ANY. I'll put this definitely on our list. Fortunately, that GSAT trade pulled right back down from that 240. I'm hanging on. I'm in from 197, and I scaled out most of my position anyway. My day today is not nearly as it was from Friday, so unfortunately, I can't say I'm near my all-time best. But thankfully, I'm at least in the plus now. It took a while for me to actually get there, but at least for right now, I'm going to hang on to my position on the GSAT. All right, KPLT we talked about. It's on our list already, kind of near the bottom, probably by the end of it all. ATIF, not going to be on our list now, but a little pop from earlier today, right? Short or sharp pop, rather, big pop, but it ended up dying off rather fast, ended up making a pop and drop seemingly from 550. And just when you would expect support to hold or hope for support to hold off of 5 or maybe a little bit underneath, make a higher low, no dice. So MTL, I don't know what this is, .p. I don't know if MTL is a separate stock. I just dropped my pen, damn. MTL, I don't know. Both look pretty spotty right there. I don't know what they are. MTL.p, either way. I mean, they seem like kind of tradable, but there's definitely plenty of other stocks out there that will look better. SPRT probably won't look better. Just wanted to check in with this thing. This thing is a mess, a hot mess. Ended up beginning to, pop at least after the market opened up and failed to make, higher highs. Ended up snapping to make a lower low and then dropped off about 5-6 points. Holy smokes, this thing's fast. All right, yeah. So listen, unless if you're trying to catch the perfect bottom, you'd have to wait a while. Probably incur a couple of quick losses in between. But otherwise, yeah, for right now, this stock is not worth the time. SNMP, also a stock that we are kind of familiar with, similar to the ANY trade over the months and years we've been following this trade at least. But yeah, it ended up diving off, going back into the beginning of the month. Here we are at the end of the month, trying to squeeze back up. If it was moving a little bit faster or maybe trading more volume per minute, I'd be more interested. It's near the highs, but I don't know if I skipped over. Did I skip over ZEV? Oh, it was pushing up right as I was going from top to bottom. There we go. We say that often here, but this definitely shows. ZEV, I was wondering where it was. I mean, familiar name from the last month or so, and really just in the trading room, we had called the stock out going into the early parts of the afternoon. It was like, not off the initial run up. It was more when it was beginning to push up here and begin to break higher. So since it's been holding strong. And you could see here going back, it wasn't a month ago, actually sooner than that, more frequent, more earlier than that. So to say, like, a couple weeks ago, stock ended up making a big pre-market push, popped all the way from 10 up towards 12, dumped back down. But stock is a great day trade, at least for us right now, heading into the close. All right, let's see what else we got here. Big Five Sporting Goods. Let's see what else see what this thing's doing. Not a whole lot happening there. All right, W Key, just kind of skimmed through some familiar names or stocks that we've traded in the past, former runners at least, perhaps. U1 number 49. This thing was looking all right at first just before, but not doing anything since. I'll tell you, that's just about it for me on the gainer side. Market's really flat, albeit up. Not a whole lot that's really a familiar name otherwise that I see on the gainer side. Jinko Solar here. Yeah, that's it. All right, folks, if there's anything up that you see, type it in the chat board that's moving well on the way up. I'm going to hop over to the loser side here first. Did all right on ASTR, actually. This stock from earlier today was the top percent loser leading into the open. Look at this. Ended up making a nice dead cat bounce afterwards. Ended up breaking below 9, snapped back over 9, pushed back up for about 70, 75 cents. I mean, you could ask for more, I reckon, but that's kind of being greedy. This was a great trade for us here at least after the open. It's hard to borrow, at least from TradeStation, so you would at a minimum have to check to see if you can get the shares. But otherwise, there wasn't much of a short opportunity until at least 10 o'clock. The better move was on the way up here. All right, the Noro trade, what makes the top percent gainers list, well, from our past trading day, Friday of last week, ends up making the top percent losers here. So unfortunately, history proves itself, right, or repeats itself, rather. This stock popped up for us going back into mid-July. I was harping on that going into Friday afternoon, saying that this is not a swing trade. This is a day trade. If this stock can make a fraction of the move that it made back, on July 20th, whenever that was, that would be a huge success. Well, it was. Moved on. Simple as that. Better stocks to trade today. I missed out on XXII short. I don't know what happened here, but this sunk like a rock here after the market opened up. That's all right. I mean, again, plenty of other stocks out there to trade. We are familiar with this one, though. I mean, this stock, probably back into springtime more so. It ended up making a nice run for us going. You could even date that going back into the fall of last year. But, really, you could see the bigger volume spike days going back into spring. That's when we were trading it on the way up, on the way down. And just a very good stock for us back then. So you always want to keep these in mind at least. And, we follow up with these stocks day to day and week to week. Right now, this isn't really doing much for us right now, but from the morning, could have been a great short. All right, I see not much else otherwise, folks. Again, I'm not being lazy when I say that, just typically even more so in the afternoons. The loser side here, you don't really find as much unless if it's down big or easy to borrow. Givo, it's easy to borrow. So you look at it quick, it's just a little too slow for my blood right now, to be honest with you. Hey, if you're trying to watch a stock move 2-3 cents, across the next 30 or so minutes, this seems to be the type of stock that'll, do that for you. If this was breaking down more right now at this time, I'd be more keen to put it on our list, as big support would likely be off of 6. You got a little order here at 605, but more off of 6 here. All right, folks, let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5%, as I always say, that you would want me to call out. ATER dropped off. It did. Yeah, this was a bust after the market opened up, Norm. Couple of opportunities where you would hope for support to build, perhaps off of 8. Unfortunately, that was very short-lived. Perhaps off of 750. That wasn't really any opportunity at all. It sliced right below that price. But then from there, 7. 7 ended up providing us a good opportunity at first. But obviously, if it's not going to, move up higher, there's only one other way it's going to go. All right, let me know if there's anything else, folks. Jeff says AMC shortable on TradeStation. Yeah, for as much as it pumped up earlier, I guess perhaps this is your pullback now. I don't know, not really doing much for me. Hey, if you do well on the stock, I'm not saying that to Jeff because I know he does well on the stock, but to other folks in our trading room or on social media, if you do well on it, put it on your personal list. All right. Michael says Tiger in my water bottle saving me here, actually. TIGR up, not up that famous 5% I asked for, but obviously really nice day trade today and, trend up across the morning after 10 a.m. Eastern time. Stock also we are pretty familiar with. So, hey, I'll tell you, if AMC was looking like this right now, and I put AMC on our list, this looks all right. But the way this is moving up for right now, moving up higher into the afternoon, I'll give it a shot, Tiger, and we are familiar with it. So, all right, for all of us in social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I don't see any comments on YouTube at least. That's where I normally get all my call outs. So, if there's anything that you folks see, let me know. And I'm going to go for another 5 or so minutes because I'm going to bring up my Bitcoin chart just to provide some small thoughts and analysis on what's ahead, perhaps. All right, so a couple updates. Number one, 49 to 50,000. That's still holding, and that's expected. So even more now than ever, it seems like it's making lower highs, essentially the rounded top that it was beginning to make back a couple weeks ago that I was harping on. So, for right now, if it pulls back, it wouldn't shock me. If it breaks below the 500 EMA that I have on my hourly chart here, it wouldn't shock me. For anyone new joining the social streams, first and foremost, if you're looking to learn more about crypto, feel more than free to continue to watch us here on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, at least here in the afternoons. But join us live inside our trading room. Go right down to the link on the banner below. I like to work off a couple of different charts: the 1 hour, the 6 hour. So, the lines I show are more off the weekly even, but it's just to say, using my moving averages. Otherwise, if I anticipate a bit of a drop coming up over the next week, 2 weeks, maybe further, maybe, most of September, that's historically known as a correction month. So, I was anticipating back on Friday that we could begin to see this pull back perhaps as low as around 44,000, which is the midway point between these two lines I have. So, that would match up just based on those levels, but otherwise that would fall right in line with the 200 EMA on my 6-hour graph, which should look to hold as a pretty strong level if we're expecting this to move up higher over the next 4 to 6 weeks after that point. So, that's just what I'm expecting. If it pulls back, great. And that for those of us not in crypto or Bitcoin yet that are, hearing me or following your own research and are anticipating on jumping in, it's an idea, it's a thought. So if it makes that move, that could be a great time for you to try and jump in. I'm well loaded up on everything that I'm in. So, one thing really quickly I'll bring up is Cardano. Smart contract launching on Cardano coming up on September 12th. I know that Cardano NFTs are also huge now. That's been on the rise across the last month. I know because I actually bought my first 2 NFTs just over the last 24 hours. So, I'm interested in it, and I see a lot of hype on it across the board myself as I'm researching, the whole thing more myself. So, hey, I'll keep it posted on my little adventure with it all. But, obviously, I'm still very bullish on Cardano. If we happen to see Bitcoin drop off, though, it wouldn't shock me if Cardano continues to pull back, maybe drop back down towards 250 or maybe the 500 EMA here on the hourly, right? Now, one thing, this is what I did over the weekend, and do your own research, folks. Don't just listen to me, right? And this goes across the board, not just on crypto stuff that I'm talking about. I'm talking about in terms of everything, market, where you're risking your money, right? You have to learn from someone out there. We offer that primarily with stock trading here at Cyber Trading University, but with crypto, and I'll tell you more, folks, about this inside the live trading room when I resume the audio commentary at 3:30, when I personally come back on myself. I'll give you a couple of little people I follow on Twitter, and I ended up getting this from someone on Twitter saying that they were very bullish on this one crypto called Phantom, FTM. All right, so I only bring this up because, hey, what is Phantom? What's this? What does it do? Folks, I have no idea. I treated this much like I would a day trade in the sense that I don't care about the news. I care about the charting behind it. I care about the momentum behind it. And I care, if there are people who, are very experienced and successful in the field, if they feel strong about it, and if you followed them in the past and made money, then hey, those are all reasons for you to try and jump in anything, right? If you expect anything to move up higher in price in a shorter amount of time, do it. Now, the guy I followed on this, he told someone on Twitter that he was expecting this to hit a peak of $10 to $20 price range at the peak of the bull cycle. Well, when this was at 47 cents, I'm sitting here already making money from his suggestions in the past. I'm saying, all right, well, that sounds pretty good to me. Much like I said to you folks before on the A and Y trade, the GSAT trade, the Neuro. If this could make a fraction of the type of move that this guy's expecting, then God bless. I jumped in at 47 cents. This was Friday night. Here we are now at 84 cents. It topped off this morning, when we were talking about stocks and going over trading at like 91 cents. So, right place, right time, I reckon. But I bring it up because it just goes to show that you don't need to know what the crypto does about, the real news behind it in order to make money on it. It's all about momentum, volume, and then, of course, just other aspects that give you confidence to take the trade. Just charting and technical analysis, perhaps moving average crossovers like I brought up in the past. Just hearing, from other traders and investors that you've done well on, listening from in the past as well. So, those are all things to think about. Mark Yu says the expected move for Bitcoin is 50,000 for the month of August. It already hit 50,000. It already did that, but I was going over, and you can go back on the past afternoon meetings, Mark, and I say this for everybody, but the lines I had up there were based off the weekly chart, the 49 and 50,000. So even longer term charts like weeklies and monthlies are going to help even further in determining Bitcoin's shorter term and longer term moves. So it wouldn't shock me if we see a bit of a pullback, perhaps down to 44 is what I'm saying. All right, so folks, in the time that I was babbling on about Bitcoin and crypto and Phantom now, let me know if there's anything else that you would want me to call out or see here before we wrap up. Got one call out here myself. I don't know what the chart looks like until here. Bitfarms, BITF, just popped up on my Benzinga Pro. That's it. So I'm not going to put this on our list. It's at the highs, but I'm not going to put it on our list. Pretty slow right now. BYFC at the high right now. I'm getting from Benzinga Pro. Same deal. ALF. Same thing. EDU. Education stock. And these were up to begin the day. And they only continued to push up a little bit after the market opened up. It pulled back, but then it ended up beginning to push from there. So you got EDU. You got TAL, which I'll tell you, it's not nearly making as good of a move right now as the EDU trade. And then also GOTU. This one's pushing up pretty nicely. So, you know what? For right now, I'm finding these from Benzinga, but I don't mind slipping at least the EDU and the GOTU, both of those, on the watch list for right now. We're familiar with both of those. All right. So, folks, that just about does it for me. I don't see anything else on YouTube. I don't see anything else from the Cyber Group room, and that's fine. We're pretty content with this list here. It's not too big, not too little. The shoe just fits. All right, so for all of us in social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, first and foremost, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every afternoon, each and every day across the last few days. I know that Fausto will be back in the saddle come tomorrow morning, so I jokingly said it, but hey, if you're sick and tired of hearing my voice, trust me, I'm going to take my seat right back in the afternoons here at 2:30, and Fausto will have his come tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. But if you have any questions that you would like to ask me, let me know. Send over a quick email to my email address, josh@c2trading.com. Otherwise, feel more than free to join us live inside our trading room, like I'd said before, just by going right down to the link on the banner below to get yourself started. For all of us there right now, Michael, Mark, Andrea, Bonnie, and all of us otherwise, just looking at the chat board right now, I look forward to speaking with you folks coming up at 3:30 Eastern today. I'll be back on the mic taking you going into the market close. Take care.